All right, so in this video, we're actually going to go over the basics of doing your own playbook, a custom playbook inside of Bardeen. So to get started, just as before, we are going to go up to our Bardeen icon in our Chrome extension section. Then we're going to scroll down to start from a blank canvas. All right, so this is a screen that's probably familiar. This is what we ended the last video on whenever we were talking about quick start guides. So to start kind of at the very top and work our way down, over here we have our title of our playbook. This is what you'll see whenever you go to run it. So be thoughtful about what you want to name it to stay organized. A description as well, just to kind of keep everything organized. And then down here, you'll see two buttons. You'll see a little lightning bolt here, and then a plus sign. Now we'll go into a little bit more detail later on about this, but in general, your left side is a trigger, and this is related to Bardeen's auto books. So these are automations that are end-to-end fully automated. And then on your right side, you have actions, which are related to playbooks. And in this situation, these are human in the loop automations. So these are things that are actually triggered by a human. And you decide that I want to do this specific task, you click on it, you run your playbook. That's related to these types of automations. So for here, we're going to actually click on our plus, and you'll see over here that we have our more apps. These are all the different integrations that Bardeen has. And if you click on each of these, you'll see lots of other options inside of that. So this is definitely a place that you can explore and look at and find lots of information about. On the right side here, we have our Bardeen features. So over here, you'll start with your scraper. And for each of these, we're going to go a little bit more in depth later on. So if you don't fully understand it right now, don't worry about it. This is just a general overview at the moment. So your scraper is anything related to scraping a page, working through a page, clicking buttons. There's honestly a whole lot that can happen inside of that section. But in general, that's where you'll find the tools here. Your web search is related to obviously any sort of web search, either a basic, normal, traditional web search, like a Google search or something like that, or an AI related search as well. You can find both tool options there. Your Bardeen enrichment is anywhere that you're trying to get additional information. So if you're looking to find an email, find a mobile number, find more information about a company or a person or LinkedIn or anything related to that, you'll find that in the Bardeen enrichment. Your AI tools is a suite of tools that Bardeen provides for you to use AI to do a variety of different things. So this may be something like adjusting your data, answering questions about a block of text. There's a lot of different things that you could use there, but there's a lot of different tools that are calibrated for specific circumstances to help you get started quickly. And then utilities is similar types of tools, but these are non-AI related tools. So to get started, we're gonna actually build out a playbook, a simple one, but we're gonna build out a playbook here. So to get started, we're gonna look for Google Sheets, and we're gonna say get table from Google Sheet. Now, Google Sheet is a very common one. We do a lot of different work, a lot of different types of work inside of Google Sheets, transferring data, adding data. It's a really good place to store your different bits of information that you're gathering. So to get started with that, we're going to type in the name of the sheet that we want. So I actually have it pulled up here, so you can see company list is my name. So we're going to type in company list, and you can see it popped up here. And then we need to select our tabs. So we'll click this, and you can see we have a tier 1 companies and a tier 1 company research. So we'll click on tier 1 companies. And then on the starting row, this is what row would you like to start with inside of that Google Sheet. So I'm going to click our first one. And then for number of rows, we're just going to do one right now because we're just getting it set up and really demoing it. Great. So over here, you'll see this little play button. We're going to click this play button here to run this one step. So as you can see, it's going to show me my results, which is our company name, Bardeen, state region, United States, and our domain of bardeen.ai. So the next thing might be I want to do a little bit of research. I don't know anything about Bardeen, so I would like to learn a little bit more. A quick way that we could do that is by adding an action step, and we go to our web search. And in this case, I'm going to do get answers from web using AI. All right, so for all of these different steps going forward, we're going to do a little bit more in depth later on. So if you get a little overwhelmed or if it's a little technical, don't worry about it. We're just going over the basics right now and kind of laying the foundation. But the very first thing that we're going to want to do is actually writing out our prompt. So for this, we're going to click on our text field. I'm going to click on custom text and I'm going to write out my prompt. So for this, I might say, give me a short description of we'll say this company. We'll do a period. And then now I'm going to pass in my variable here. Click on this, and we're going to say domain. So what this is going to do is give me a short description of the company is going to stay the same each time. But this variable will be different each time. So in this case, it's Bardeen, but maybe the next time I run over this, it might be Apple or Amazon or any other number of companies that you might be prospecting. So now that we have this set up, now I'm going to hit our play button here, check out what our results look like. And great, it gives us a nice little paragraph here about Bardeen, workflow automations, looking pretty good so far. So great, so now that we have this, maybe I want to do a little bit more information about Bardeen, but I want it to be more like company information. That'd be helpful. So for this, I'm going to go over to our Bardeen enrichment, and I'm going to say get company information, get company info. And then just as before, we're going to fill out a couple of these fields. The domain will probably do. So if you ever want to be more specific, then you can add in the company name and location and some of the other information here as well. But in this case, Bardeen's pretty unique, so the domain will do. So we're going to click on this as before. We're going to click on get from previous text, and then we're going to type in domain because that's the name of the field that I'm looking for. And then now we're going to click our play button here, give it a second, and then great, it looks like Bardeen came up. Now there's a lot of different information here, but we have things like our LinkedIn URL, for example. We have different company information, like maybe their funding or revenue or employees. So a lot of different information that comes in with this. You can download this to see all of it. But in general, this is an enrichment that just helps you get a lot of general information about a company. So now that to summarize so far, now that since we've pulled some information from our Google Sheets, we've done a little bit of research on the web about that company, we've gotten some additional company information. Now I want to add this back into a Google Sheet so that way we can save it for future purposes. So for this, I'm going to click on our add action. I'm going to go back to our Google Sheet, and then I'm going to say add rows to Google Sheets. We're going to add this to the same one as we did before. So company list, perfect. And this time I want to look at our tabs. But for this one, I'm going to add this into our research tab so that way I can keep things organized. And from table. Now we have a couple of options here. The main one that you're going to likely want to choose in this situation, or that I will choose in this situation, is map fields. And what you will see here is actually building out the data that you have and how you want to store it inside a Google Sheet. So for example, I might want to say LinkedIn. So I'm going to confirm. And on this right side, this is how the information will appear in Google Sheet. And on the left side, this is the different information that I'm getting from Bardeen. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to type in LinkedIn. And from a previous action, the one that we got our general company information, you can see now we have our LinkedIn URL. We'll click on that. And then the next one we might do is we want to do our description, for example, the one that we got from using our AI web research. For that one, we're going to go to our get previous field, and that was step 2 or action 2. So we're going to click on that, and then we're going to click on our response because that's where that information lives. And then maybe after this, we just want to get our company name and our domain just to keep things organized. So we might say company name. But if you remember, we already got this from the Google Sheet. So this is really just keeping things organized. So we'll say company name. We'll get from our original field here, domain name, domain. Perfect. Great. So now that we've got some basic information here, we can now move this on to actually pushing it to our Google Sheet. Now, this is pretty simple, but this part can get pretty complex. As you're doing a lot of research for companies and you're adjusting that data and that information, you can get a lot of different fields here. That's perfectly fine. Once you start doing lots of work, this can add up a little bit, but it helps keep it very organized, which is good. So now I'm going to hit my play button here. Give it a second, and now it's done. So now this has officially pushed it to the second tab of my Google Sheet. And that's a quick, very simple playbook that you could run inside of Bardeen, but this is building it from beginning all the way to the end using a couple of different steps. Hope that helps.